Hi, everybody. My name is Buddy Gott. Welcome to Buddy's Writing Show. On tonight's show, I'm very happy to have with me author Michael Ronn. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Hey, buddy. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. My pleasure. For our viewers, Michael and I are new friends. We just met recently online. We both have walkcasts, different. Well, his is a podcast. Mine is a video cast, and we're going to talk about that a little later on. But wanted to talk about Michael's books. Michael has a brand new book out today, and Michael, what's well, I'll tell you what, we'll leave the viewers in suspense for a few minutes. Let's talk just a little bit about your writing career. You're fairly new with publishing, aren't you?
I'm brand new. I published my first book back in this past January.
Oh, that's fantastic. And correct me if I'm wrong, but that was called How to Be Bad, a
Yes.
decision select novel.
Yep, How to Be Bad.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about that one?
Yeah, How to Be Bad is about a attorney. Her name is BB McFerrin, and she is a bit of a pushover. She doesn't know how to stand up for herself. And as a result, one of her coworkers steals a promotion from her.
Oh,
And she's really upset. And lo and behold, a mysterious demon named Ledouche appears and offers her
Ledouche.
Ledouche, yeah.
Oh, I love that name.
Yeah, you already know this guy's up to no good, but yeah.
Yeah.
Ledouche appears and gives her the ability to get her revenge, and he lets her commit any illegal act without getting caught.
Oh,
And so
wow.
she gets her revenge, but remorse kicks in, and she tries to get out of it, but she finds out that she's been tricked into a deal with this demon. And in
Ah.
order to break the contract, she has to steal the souls of 3 people. And
Oh,
if she
wow.
doesn't, then the demon will steal the soul of the man that she loves as collateral. So,
Oh, wow. Interesting. I wanted to ask you. It's called a decision select novel, which I know your new release is too. Um, it's some. Is there some sort of interacting going, or there's
yeah,
choices? Okay, can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I find that
yeah.
really fascinating.
Yeah, basically, the way I like to describe it is it's a choose your own adventure for grown-ups.
Oh,
So,
okay.
if you've ever read the choose your own adventure books back in the 80s and 90s, those are really popular with kids because you could kind of pick what happened in the story. And this is kind of updated for modern audiences, so formatted for e-readers. Every once in a while, the reader comes to a decision that BB, the character, has to make in How to Be Bad, and they can just tap on the decision. So, for example, the first decision in the book is how to get her revenge. So she
Oh,
can go to her coworker's house and get her revenge, and you kind of see a violent side of her, or she can be a little bit more subtle about it. And so the reader gets to pick how that happens. And the slogan of the Decision Select books are that every choice counts. So it may not make sense right away, but every choice that the reader's making adds up when they get to the end, and it becomes very clear.
oh, wow. That's very cool. I
Yeah.
mean, the story alone sounds, super cool just by itself, but to have that too, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to write.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this then. Now, when you came up with the idea for the story, did you know sort of at the beginning you were going to do it that way, or did that idea come to you later on?
I knew right away that it would be a Decision Select.
Hmm.
Interactive fiction is kind of interesting because certain plots lend themselves to being interactive. Other
Hmm.
plots are more better for traditional books. So yeah, I kind of knew what I was going to do. I just didn't know exactly how I was going to do it. So building
Okay.
it was an interesting interesting challenge.
Oh, well, yeah, I bet it was. That sounds like a lot of fun. That's something yeah, I had purchased your books, and I know my girlfriend did, and this might inspire me to try something like that. That does sound like an awful lot of fun. It sounds like a really cool challenge
Yeah,
as a
all you need
writer.
is Scrivener.
Yeah, I just got Scrivener, so that's
Hey,
perfect.
good for you. It's the best thing out there.
Oh, I love it. It's a learning curve,
Yeah, it
but
is.
I bought one of those, books on how do you write your novel with Scrivener, and I'm sold already. I'm sold
Yeah.
already. So let me ask you this, and now, how far back do you go with your writing? Is that something you've enjoyed doing since you were a child, like most of us has been the case?
Yeah, I've always written. As a child, I wrote books and stories, but of course, they weren't any good. And I never really got serious about it until I got to college, when I realized that this was something that was really fulfilling for me. And so I started off writing poetry, and that was a lot of fun. But there's not a big audience for it, and literary journals weren't exactly excited about my poems, so it's kind of hard to get published. So
Right.
then I moved up to short stories, and I found those were a lot of fun to write, and I realized I had to write a novel at one point, and so I kind of graduated up.
Right.
So
I
yeah,
think that's the
so
way a lot of people do it. Like I used to write poetry, I would do song lyrics, and well, same way as you. Then short stories, and the more you write, the more confidence you get, and then
right.
you can just grow and grow with it, which is it's just so much fun. It's such a
Yeah.
fun learning experience, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and you take what you learn as you go. So you take
Mhm.
what you learn with your poetry and you bring that to your short stories, and you bring the intensity that you have in your short stories to your novels. So you win either way. It's
Yeah,
like you
that's
say.
true. And one way that writers are really winning now is because of self-publishing being so popular. Things like short stories and even poetry. If you ever wanted to go back to poetry, it's so much easier to get your work out there. Because, like you said, most publishers they really shied away from that kind of stuff unless you were like a big name author.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a market for it now. And
Yeah.
this is the best time ever to be an author, to be able to publish whatever you want. That's the best part about being an indie.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
When I got serious about writing a couple years ago, it's the more and more I learned about indie publishing. It's like I don't have, I'm not, I know a lot of people are like, I'll never deal with the big six publishing industry. And I'm not like that, but I just like, we're talking about the opportunities that are there. It's like,
yeah,
why not just do it myself and put my stuff out there and see how it goes? It's just so exciting. It's a great time to be a writer.
it is. It's the best time ever.
Yeah. Now we talked about short stories, and that leads us conveniently enough into what you published after your first novel, and that is a collection of short stories, right, called Reconciled People.
Yes, and I wrote those stories. Those were actually some of the first stories that I wrote. I didn't have the confidence yet to publish them, so I wrote the stories, and I decided after I published How to Be Bad that I needed to have a side project. So as I was finishing up How to Be Bad, I was working on stories and getting them edited. And these stories, basically what they're about is different people face different situations where they have to reconcile their fears and their weaknesses to meet the challenges. So one of the title stories is called the title story is High Wind, and that's about a Native American who leaves his reservation and wants to start life anew and just tries to forget his culture. Well, his ancestors don't like that very much, and they inflict a hallucination upon him. And
Oh
so
wow.
that's where the story begins, and it's him reconciling all of these feelings that he's got about himself. And so all the stories have a similar fantastical element to them. I describe it as literary fiction, but with elements of fantasy.
Okay. About how many stories do you have in that collection? Just
There
curious.
are 10 stories in Reconcile People.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's fantastic. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. You've done so much since January. It's so impressive, and congratulations to you.
Thank you.
That's fantastic. And like another congratulations. I mentioned it at the beginning. You have a brand new novel just out today.
Yeah, brand spanking new, published today.
That's fantastic. And I wish I could bring up the graphic for it, but I'm not real good with technology. Uh, but that book has a fantastic looking cover, and this is called Festival of Shadows,
Yes.
correct?
Yes, Festival of Shadows.
And that's got a really neat story to that one too. I can't wait for you to share that with everybody.
Yeah, well, Festival of Shadows, it is about a teddy bear named Theo, whose owner is abducted by Stratus, who in my book is the boogeyman.
Mm.
And Theo has to travel to the Stratus's dimension, where it's a dimension full of magic and evil, and all the citizens there are abandoned and maimed toys whose owners have been abandoned and kidnapped by Stratus. And he rules this place with fear, and all the toys either have to bow down to him and pledge their allegiance forever, or if they don't, then he punishes them and makes them suffer eternally. So
Wow.
yeah, Theo meets a traveling caravan of good toys who agree to help him sneak into the castle if he'll help them make their festival that they're setting up a success. And so it really becomes a story about a quest of Theo trying to thwart Stratus's evil henchmen toys, who are who are all over the place, and he has to race against time because if he doesn't rescue Grant, his owner, by sunrise, they'll both be trapped there forever.
Wow, that is great. I'm really excited to read that. I'm not just saying that because you're my guest. I'm really excited to read that. That sounds great. And the cover, like I said, is awesome. It's got Theo there, and what's he? He's holding a sword, isn't he?
Yeah, he's holding a sword and shield. He's a pretty courageous guy.
Yeah, I'm seeing this little teddy bear with a sword and shield. I'm like, this is a
Yeah,
kick-ass cover. It
thank you.
just really grabs your eye.
Yeah, shout out
Fantastic.
to my cover artist on that, Kip Ayers. He's a fantasy cover artist, and I thought he did such an awesome job. He really got the novel, and he really helped set the tone for it. So,
Oh,
yeah,
great,
he did a
great.
great job on that.
I like your other covers too.
Thank you.
They're really good as well. Now, let's talk about. Did you have any particular favorite authors growing up that you think may have influenced your own writing or just inspired you to be a writer?
Oh, definitely. I could probably sit here and talk all night about all the different authors
We've got
that have
time. We've
touched
got
me. Yeah,
time.
we got we
I got a
got
full
plenty of
cup of
time.
tea.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Well, I guess the first person that comes to mind for me is Ray Bradbury.
Mm.
And, I'm actually not a science fiction fan. I guess a lot of the stuff he wrote, like Fahrenheit 451 and Martian Chronicles, are pretty sci-fi. But I love him because of the way that he writes. It's just intoxicating. I mean, it's the closest thing you can get to poetry. And I remember reading Fahrenheit 451 and just being mesmerized by just the way that he describes things and how he still moves the story along. Because a lot of literary fiction, it has a tendency to be very verbose and it doesn't go anywhere. But he's just got it all. He really inspired me to make my prose as vivid and imagistic and evocative as possible. Um,
Yeah, he was a
yeah,
fantastic writer, and it's
yeah,
a testament to his writing that it's still popular today. I work with there's this college kid I work with, maybe 18, 19 years old, and she had told me that Bradbury is her favorite author, and I hear something like that. I think that's just great, because a lot of times
yeah,
people don't experiment with writers from that long ago.
right.
So fantastic writer there.
Yeah, timeless. And I guess the other authors, I guess I would say I really like the works of Eudora Welty and
Mhm.
Flannery O'Connor. They were really good short story writers. It was kind of like the Southern Gothic, very, very strange short stories with kind of quirky and macabre humor. But
Mhm.
I love those stories. I love short stories, so a lot of my favorite authors are short story authors,
Mhm.
too. P.C. Boyle and John Cheever.
Yeah, I love short stories too, and
Yeah,
like I said, it's great that there are so many more short stories coming out now from authors,
right.
and because we have a lot of mutual writing friends and writer friends, and I'm seeing all these different anthologies, compilations out there, and I'm working on some short stories myself. I'm hoping to
Awesome.
publish a collection later on this year. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Now we have another thing in common, and I touched on this earlier, is that we both have. Well, obviously I have this show here on YouTube, but some of my regular viewers might know I have another show called Walking Buddy, and you have something too. You have your own podcast where I know it's not video yet, right? But you might be doing
Yeah.
video.
No,
Yeah.
it's a funny story about that. I tried to do a video podcast this past Sunday.
Oh yeah.
I went to a park and I was walking with my phone, out, and I passed by maybe like 5 or 6 cyclists, and they were just like mean mugging me like I was crazy.
Oh really?
So I'm gonna have to find a more secure, secluded place.
Yeah, that might
I
be a
don't
good
know. People
idea.
kind of think I'm crazy. Call the cops or something.
Yeah, I'm really anxious to see the show, but I don't want you to get hurt or anything. Yeah, just be careful there, Michael. Well, let's talk about the show that you do have right now,
Yeah.
because you've got these great podcasts where you talk about different things, and I'll let you explain it rather than me, so I don't want to mess it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I a lot of people are doing walking podcasts these days, and I decided to do my own. And what I do is I record my phone and I record myself talking as I go to the gym. So the name of the podcast is Driving with Michael: Reflections on Life and Writing. And so I talk about just whatever's on my mind. I talk about what's going on in my writing life, what's going on in my personal life. I talk about different topics. Like one that you heard was the pros and cons of living in Des Moines, Iowa.
Yeah, and
And
you really made Iowa sound interesting. I didn't know much about Iowa. That was really fun to listen to.
yeah, I like doing topical stuff like that. And they're short, they're quick, and I talk about writing, I talk about life, everything in between. And they're a lot of fun for me because when I'm doing them, I'm actually going to the gym. So it's an incentive for me to lose weight and get healthier and do something really cool with my writing career and connect with really great people along the way.
Well, great. Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I encourage everyone to check that out. Now, where can they find you?
They
Where can
can
they find
find
you?
me. Yeah, they can find me at my website at www.michaelleron.com, and that's double L double N. So just my name spelled out.
Right, and I will include a link to that here on the YouTube page and on
Definitely.
my buddygot.com later on as well. Well, that's you've got a lot going on, and I'm so happy for you that with this new book out today. I'm really enjoying the podcast, and I'm glad we had a chance to talk tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I appreciate the invite.
Oh, my pleasure, and I wish you the best of luck with how to. I'm sorry, I was about to say how to be bad. Yeah, I wish you luck with that too. I want more and more people to read How to Be Bad, and to read Reconciled People, and to pick up Festival of Shadows. What are you going to be working on? Do you already have something else you're working on?
Yeah, I'm actually working on a series now. It's a 3-book series because every author needs a series, right?
That's right. Yeah. Hey,
and
series are huge.
yeah, and it's called Eaton right now, and that is about a group of vegetable terrorists that are attempting to take down an empire of processed foods. So
Oh, that sounds
more to
fantastic.
come, more to come on that later.
That sounds great, Michael. Well, cool. I'm anxious to hear about that too. Hey, when that comes out, if you want to come on the show and talk about that, I'd love to have you back.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, and I want to put this out there for anyone who's watching us live right now. You should know whether or not you're watching it live. If you can't figure that out, you might have a problem. But if you're watching us live and you'd like to hang out with us, we're going to be meeting with a couple of the viewers that we know are watching right now in a hangout on Google Plus. Just leave a note in the comments that you'd be interested in coming on. You can, if you have a camera, microphone, headset, whatever, we can just hang out for a while and talk. It's a fun thing, and Michael's a cool guy, so you won't have to just put up with me. But everybody, please do that. Please check out Michael LaRon's website, michaellarron.com. You can find him at Michael. Are you available on all places to buy books? Or
Yes, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Kobo, Smashwords, iTunes, everywhere.
oh, fantastic! So people check out Michael's great books, and thank you for watching. And I'll be seeing you real soon. Thank you again, Michael.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
My pleasure.